So I want to get into the Knicks versus the Pacers, all right? So the Pacers won this series in 7, all right? I chose the Knicks in 7, but I did not take into account attrition, all right? The war of attrition is the name of the game in the playoffs, man. Who is the healthiest? Who has their guys? Who doesn't? Simple as that, man. So I did not take that into consideration. That is my bad. I should take that into account. The Knicks guys been playing 45 to 48 minutes all playoffs long. So eventually their health will probably catch up with them. They'll get either nicked up or suffer some severe injuries. And that happened in this series, man. OG Anunoby was out after the second game. Mitchell Robinson, he might have played one game, if that. So they were already out. Julius Randle, they were already out. Bogdanovich. So they were down like 4 key pieces, man. But they fought hard, man. If I'm a New York Knicks fan, I'm proud of just their effort, their fight, and their will, man. These guys really thugged it out and really brought some physicality and tenacity to New York, man. These guys are warriors, and I would not hold my head down if I was a New York Knicks fan this time. They did a lot of great things in this series, man, that are going unnoticed. So let's get into it. So as I mentioned before, 4-3 in the playoff series. The Pacers had a 125.7 offensive rating and a 121.3 defensive rating. So they have the top 2 offense in the playoffs, top 2 offense in the regular season. Then when the Boston Celtics, which actually makes this next series very interesting because you're going against the top 2 offensive rating teams, top two offenses in all the metrics pretty much going back to the regular season. So it's going to be very interesting in that series. But the Pacers did what they do, man. They scored the basketball. But really, it's their defense that has to hold up in order to give these guys a chance to win. So in the 3 games that Indiana lost, they lost the points in the paint battle. Indiana was the best team in points in the paint the entire regular season. They've been the best team in the playoffs in points in the paint. All right, so if you're getting beat by the Knicks, all right, who are pretty much one-dimensional because Jalen Brunson has the ball 99% of the time, and if he's not shooting the ball or creating for guys, they don't really have a lot of options. DiVincenzo did play that secondary ball handler role, a lot of second side action with him, but it's really just 2 guys. When these guys were down a lot of their players, but when they won the points in the paint battle, they won the games. All right. Also, when they played the defense, it sounds simple. When they just play solid defense, it wouldn't get out rebounded, weren't getting just blown by and letting Jalen Brunson do whatever he wants. And when they finally made that change to Aaron Nesmith guarding Jalen Brunson instead of Nembhard, Lord knows that was a disaster. Nembhard could not guard Brunson to save his life. It was bad. It looked like a grown man torching a little kid, just doing whatever he wanted, getting whatever shot he wanted with little to no resistance, man. But when they made that change, it made it a lot harder for Brunson. So some quick stats here for that. When Nesmith was guarding Jalen Brunson, he went 27 for 60. All right, that's 45% from the field. All right, that's still solid, but Nesmith made him work. He made Brunson work for all of his shots. There weren't no easy post-ups, no easy turnarounds. He weren't shifting him all over the place. All right, he did drop him one time, but he didn't shoot the ball. But Nesmith's overall better defender, stockier, just makes Brunson uncomfortable. He's going to guard him full court, stronger, all that good stuff. When Nembhard was guarding him, Brunson shot 26 for 39. That's 66% from the field, all right? So Brunson was just cooking him hibachi style, it was no match. So in the 3 losses suffered by the Indiana Pacers, they had a 133 defensive rating. That is awful, all right? So the Celtics had a 122 offensive rating, which was the best in the league in the regular season. 133, 11 points better per 100 possessions. It's just awful. In the playoffs, that shouldn't be happening. In the wins, however, Indiana Pacers had a 112.5 defensive rating, all right? So much more tolerable. That's where they need to be at in order to try to get past the Boston Celtics, man. They can't keep giving guys whatever they want. They got to do something. They got to be more physical. They actually match the Knicks' physicality for the most part, man. So the rebounding difference was not as bad as you would think, coming from a great offensive rebounding team in New York and a subpar rebounding team in the Indiana Pacers, all right? So 284 to 269 in favor of the Knicks. That's only a 15-point margin. Pretty good, all right, to be totally honest with you, man. I thought it was going to be more so 30, kind of in the Dallas Mavericks, Oklahoma City Thunder series, kind of along those lines. But 15 is not bad at all. But it was really their efficiency that kind of won them this series. All right, so they shot 53% from the field in the series, 42.5% from three, and a 58% effective field goal percentage in the series. So that's amazing. All right, they've been doing this all year, scoring the ball at a very efficient rate. All right, they get a lot of open shots, they get a lot of dribble penetration. TJ McConnell was cooking dudes. Like, when he said he's a dog, like, believe him, he is a dog. Like, he's get to that mid range and he just stops and pops, and you just can't guard it. Like, he just fades. He has a nice little fader going left and going right, man. He's very quick, very crafty. He's tough, man. I really like TJ McConnell, to be honest with you. I became a fan. That leads me to the bench points. So they had 35 bench points per game in this series, all right? So that's 30% of their points are bench points. No other team in the playoffs can say they have 30% of their points being bench points so far, man. You see how the Nuggets just lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves having 5 bench points, all right? So bench points matter in the playoffs. You can't have your guys playing 48 minutes trying to go into these deep playoff runs, man. It's going to be hard. Guys are going to get tired. It's been a physical playoff, so guys are going to get worn down, sore, injuries, people get nicked up. It's going to happen, man. So having a bench like Indiana does helps in that category for sure, man. And that bench is efficient. So that bench is shooting 50% from the field. That's a number 2 in the playoffs so far behind the Boston Celtics. All right, so their bench is 50% from the field. Starters are 51% from the field. So their bench and the starters are pretty much on the same playing field, all right? There's no drop-off when the starters come out and the bench comes in. There's no drop-off when TJ McConnell comes in. When Isaiah Jackson, the big, comes in. When Obi Toppin comes in. They essentially are great in their roles. TJ McConnell's a great facilitator, pushing the pace, getting guys like Obi Toppin, open layups, being play finishers, open threes. Isaiah Jackson, opportunity to offensive rebound, all that good stuff, man. So their bench is just as good as their starters. All right, so that's a plus in Indiana's favor. However far they go in the playoffs, man, just having that firepower off the bench. And as I mentioned, their offense has been clicking all season long. It's not going to be their offense. It's always going to be their defense. They had a 120 offensive rating in every game this series except Game 5. That was in Game 5 where they just had a dud. They got smacked by like 30 in that game. The Knicks had a game like that where they got smacked by 30. But other than that, man, they had an above 120 offensive rating in every game this series, right? Showing you why they were top 2 offense in the NBA this season. And even in the last game of the series, it literally showed you their efficiency and why their offense has been all-time great this postseason and in the regular season. All right, so they shot 67% from the field in the last game in Game 7, 54% from 3. So, just so you guys know, that is the highest field goal percentage in Game 7 history, 67%. By a wide margin at that. The second highest is at 60%. That was in 2006 by the Suns. So that shows you, man, this team is clicking. They're clicking, man. These guys get dribble penetration. These guys get open shots. They attack mismatch. I don't know how many times Pascal Siakam had a mismatch. How many times Pascal Siakam was at the high post, jab, step shot, get into the basket, spin move, losing Anunoby, losing Mitchell Robinson. They essentially weren't that physical team that we saw in the first round versus Philadelphia 76ers. Man, they didn't have that same juice, and it showed, man. It showed in the rebounding stats. It showed in the points in the paint stats. It showed in all that stuff, man. So overall, the Pacers were just a better team than the New York Knicks. All right, whether that's because of attrition, you guys can say that, and I will tend to agree that has a lot to do with it. But it's the playoffs. It's basketball. Guys are gonna get hurt. We see it every single year. Guys get hurt, star players get hurt, and you gotta fight through it. Last year, the Denver Nuggets, when they played the Phoenix Suns, Chris Paul was hurt. DeAndre Ayton, he played the majority of the game, but I'm pretty sure he was hurt the last game of the series. So, like, it happened, man. Guys get hurt, you gotta play through it. That's just a part of the luck factor that happens with these playoff games. But kudos to the Indiana Pacers, man. Eastern Conference Finals. I actually think it's gonna be a better Eastern Conference Finals than it would have been if the Knicks would have made it, because they just would have broke down physically all their injuries, man. So kudos to the Pacers. I'm looking forward to this next series versus the Boston Celtics, the 2 top offensive teams in the NBA. Should be real fun, man. But on that note, we are out of here. I'm gonna see you on the next episode.